Hi, and welcome to another Vision Store product demonstration. And in this demonstration, I want to show you my, and I'm going to use the word again, another favorite piece of technology which has actually been around since actually 1951. So there we go, over 60 years of being around just. And of course, I'm talking about the classic Perkins Brailler, and the product number for that is ES, as in E for elephant, S for Sam, 4050. So let me start having a bit of a chat about the Perkins with you. Now, it actually does come with a dust cover that goes over the whole Perkins Brailler, and I've actually taken that off at the moment because I want to show you the main features of the Perkins. So let's just start from the back of the unit. So at the back here, I've got my hands, and this might be a little bit hard to pick up in the video, but I've got margins on the left and another margin slider on the right. So if I take the embossing head that produces the braille and come to the middle, I can pull this left hand margin release over right up to where I've actually got the embossing head. So if I'm doing a list, let's say I'm doing a spelling list or I'm doing some mathematics, I can always make sure that I'm in the right column because I can't go any further back than the left hand edge. And exactly the same with the right hand edge. So the reason why you might want to use the right hand edge, this Perkins Brailler takes pretty much standard what we tend to call Perkins Classic Braille paper. So it's 130 GSM. And let's say though I wanted to do what we call throwaway braille, so I don't need to keep it, so I don't need to use thick paper. I might just use some good old printer A4 type thin sheet. So normally that probably just goes to about there, I think. So I would take the right hand margin and push it over, and there's the old good old bell. So that way I can pretend I'm brailing. When I hear the ding, I know I've got about 7 spaces, or I have got 7 spaces to go, and I don't go off the edge of the paper. Because what sometimes happens with light paper is the embossing head goes off the end, and then when you try and pull it back, it actually gets caught on the edge of the paper. All right, so that's the margin release ones and the bell. And here we have the paper release. So I pull that back, and I happen to have some Perkins Braille paper here with me. So I'm actually going to feed that in to there and put the paper lever down. And now I'm going to wind it in. And the reason why it's a certain size is because when I roll it all the way in, it's going to stop right there. And I just press the paper lever on the left-hand side. And now I can start brailing away, and when I get to a new line, or when I start a new line, I can just press the paper lever again, pull the head back, and keep brailing. But what's really cool about this, remember I said I can do a list, so if I put the embossing head there, and do the left-hand margin again, what's nice about it is I can put in a list. I'm just going to press the space bar at the moment, so I'll just type in a word or a first line of an equation. But what's really cool about it, if you don't want to use the actual line for line release to go to the next line, if I just pull it back to the left, I can just go, I can turn the actual rollers, the paper rollers on the outside, and I can just keep going down line by line that way. So each time you hear a click, it's going out one line properly at a time, and then when I pull it back, doing exactly the same thing. Okay, and that's why the margin release and the paper feed is so important, because you then get that proper click sound for line by line. Works out really well. Okay, now let me put this margin release back to the left. Okay, I'm going to put the head back to the left again. Now, before I move off the paper, let me just show you on the left-hand side here, we've got a very small round knob, which you may see in the video, maybe not, but I can move that slightly in. And again, that's just a way of stopping the paper slipping off to the left. Okay, I don't really worry about that too much, so I'm just going to leave it in the position it was on, in the original position. I've already mentioned the fact that when you get to the end of the line, 7 spaces before the right hand edge, you get a nice ding sound. And here we have our carry handle that you can pick up the Perkins and carry it around with you. I'm just going to put the handle down. Now, the way to get the head that I've been using across the paper is on the front here where the embosser lever is. I push it down and I can go, whoa, right to the end. So it allows you to actually move the head freely left and right. And then when you want to get to the spot you want, you can just release it and it stays put. And then you can either choose to hold down the embossing head movement and pull it back and then release it and it'll stay put, or you can take it to the middle and then push it back and you'll get that type of sound. Now some people prefer doing that because if I do it this way, hold it down, push it back to the left and let go, sometimes it'll just slide like that a bit forward if you don't have good motor control. So it's great to move it that way, but I say to people, if you've got a little bit of hand issues, just push it back and it'll stay put. And then finally, we come to the business front end of the Brailler, the Perkins Brailler. So in the middle, we've got a nice space bar, and then we've got our traditional Perkins style keys. So I've currently got my fingers in the correct brailing position. So I've got dot 1, 2, 3. So from the space bar going to the left, dots 1, 2, and 3. From the space bar going right, I've got dots 4, 5, and 6. And of course that makes up the whole braille cell. And then on the left hand side, we've got the paper feed lever. Nice and loud. I'll just roll it back in again. And then we have on the right hand side a backspace lever. There we go. And just to give you an idea of what it sounds like, I'm just going to type in my full name. So dot 6 for capital, and then D-A-V-I-D for David, space, and then capital W, so dot 6, W, O-O-D-B-R-I-D-D-E, and new line, and go back to the beginning of the line, and there we go. I'm going to put one more out so I can read the dot 6 because it's a bit covered by the embossing head. So capital D-A-V-I-D, space, capital, as in dot 6, W, then the whole word Woodbridge. Beautiful. So it really is an excellent long-standing machine. As I said, it was first produced in 1951. I had my first Perkins Braillers in about 1976, and I've actually still got mine today. This is actually a replacement one. One of them got lost in shipping somewhere between moving houses over the last 30-40 years or so, but I still have my original one that I got in 1976 still. So that will do me. Now, of course, to wind out the paper without going click, click, click when you're finished, you can just put the paper levers up and just wind, and there you go. Just got the paper out. Just put it aside. So that concludes this demonstration of the Perkins Braille. Remember, particularly if you want to use throwaway braille on light paper, because if you use heavy paper, it'll stay around for quite a long time. The braille won't get faint or get squashed. Throwaway paper is very good for taking quick notes. So I refer to the Perkins Brailler as my sighted pen and paper. So when I don't have any of my electronic gear around, I just use the Perkins to jot down notes quickly, because it's always there and it doesn't rely on power. And then of course I can always adjust the margins to whatever I want to actually do, including, you know, brailing on Christmas cards, gift cards, get well cards, all that sort of stuff that other people do as a matter of course. If you'd like more information or to purchase the classic or just, I call it just the Perkins Brailler, then please contact the Vision Australia Vision Store. The phone number for the main number is 1300 847 466. You can email the Vision Store at visionstore@visionaustralia.org, and of course you can go online to the shop website, which is simply shop.visionaustralia.org. And as always, thanks for your attention, and bye for now.